Hello viewers and welcome to a brand new episode of Mechanic Brewery Season 5, where I talk about the various homebrew mechs created by the Lancer community. In today's episode, Ghoul, from HORUS, by Hyper Sea Shells. Ghoul, in Arabic folklore, is a monstrous humanoid said to dwell in cemeteries and other uninhabited places that partook in the consumption of human flesh. In modern media, ghouls are surprisingly everywhere, usually as an weak enemy type that is already 1 foot in death, but they are also kinda being used interchangeably with zombies, so it can be a bit confusing. Their depictions in various media range from being not that different from the original inspiration, to something else entirely, while still following the original idea of a being always close to the dead. Named after the mythology, Ghoul is a towering, imposing frame that seeks to bring death and destruction to all it could see. As Ghoul is an alt frame of Kobold, it too shares the same license with it, with all that implied. And yes, in case if you are asking, Ghoul is what happens when you, instead of injecting the Kobold code into a forklift, you inject it into a goddamn barba. Anyway, let's take a look at its stat. The Ghoul is, unlike the Kobold, a gigantic size 3 frame with average health, 2 armor, and somewhat poor evasion paired with an average E defense. It's not that slow, I suppose. Its heat cap is not remarkable either, and it only has 3 goddamn repair cap despite being a size 3. Its sensor range is also just average, but it does have +2 tech attack and a good save target. It's still a HORUS frame after all, alongside 6 base system points. As for its traits, it has 3 of them. First, Molten Slog. Ghoul just crushes and burns through anything smaller than it. If it ends its movement or turn on an object smaller than it, it is destroyed. Second, Slag Armor. While in danger zone, Ghoul has resistance to heat from external sources. And third, Superheat Earth. For once per round, when you hit a character with tech attack, you may deal 10 AP energy damage to an object or terrain adjacent to the target. If this destroys it, it melts and turns into a difficult terrain. Difficult terrain created this way persists between scenes. To put it shortly, the Ghoul is an absolute unit that can just straight up ignore and crush most terrain and obstacle, can take heat like nothing, and just hacking people alone could let you destroy the map itself and make it worse. The Ghoul isn't just oppressive because of its sheer size, it's oppressive because of its ability to easily destroy object and terrain close to it or far away with relative ease. It's probably not something you want to bring when your goal is to protect an objective, or town, or anything real. As for its weapon mounts, it has 2, both of which is main, letting you wield double fusion rifles or slag cannons or others at once. Onto its core passive, Ghoul can charge the Rail of Our Forefather, in which at the start of your first turn in any combat scene, you begin charging the infected Apocalypse Rail. You now have the Terraformer dice, which starts at 1, at the end of each of your turns. Raise the value by 1, to a maximum of 4, at the end of the scene, you lose the dice and the rail stops charging. If the value of the Terraformer dice is 2 to 4, you can use it to terraform the battlefield as a full action, but you can't take any other actions on the same turn. After firing it, the dice resets back to 1, and does not increase this turn. When you terraform, you may select one of the following options: placed in a blast equal to the value of the Terraformer dice, centered on a space within range 10 and line of sight. Terrain created in this way persists between scenes. First, Slag Mesa. The targeted area heaves up with a sudden jolt, raising up by 2 units and causing all affected units and objects to take 1 AP kinetic. Second, Oil Slick. The terraformed area becomes covered in oil. When you step onto an oil slick, you can only move in straight lines. This can be ignored by treating the area as difficult terrain. Optionally, the oil slick can be set ablaze when hit by burn or energy damage, turning all of it into dangerous terrain that deals burn damage and persists between scenes. And third, Field of Flowers. Seeds are sprayed from the infected Apocalypse Rail, sprouting in moments upon touching any still surface. Allied characters that start their turn in the area or enter it for the first time in a round gain 3 over shield. Field of Flowers is, however, only usable once per scene, as in you can only fire it once. At the end of the scene, the plants fully bloom, persistently green, but no longer granting over shield. As for its core power, Ghoul can activate teratological drafts for Eden Suite, which with a protocol, your infected Apocalypse Rail immediately gains 2 charges. When you fire your infected Apocalypse Rail, it resets to 2 instead of 1, once per round. When you fire the infected Apocalypse Rail, you may invade a character in sensors and line of sight as a free action. Additionally, you can still take other actions when you fire it. Basically, Ghoul comes with a cannon that can terraform an entire area at once, whether that's raising up a zone to make it harder to reach, creating a difficult spot that can be set on fire if enemies get stuck in it, or a flower field that can protect your allies. These can have some dramatic effects due to just how large the field could be, which paradoxically can also make them hard to use due to how absurdly huge they could be. You also cannot use any other action when firing the cannon, not even with overcharge, so when you are firing the cannon, that's all you will be doing that turn, but when you do fire it, it will hit so hard the map will literally feel it. The core power just lets you fire the infected rail faster, way faster. It's possible to fire it literally every single round now with all that implied. You could even invade someone as a free action and get to use overcharge for more action now, just to cause even more chaos against your opponent. I don't think there will be a map left after everything you have done. And that's basically it on Ghoul, an aggressive terraformer that imposes an awful presence as gigantic as its own size onto the battlefield. You can actually find Ghoul on Field Guide to Bach. No, not that one. A homebrew supplement still in development written by Hyper Seashells. Anyway, that's all for now and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.